I have some thoughts about it. And over time, when I decided to accumulate my thoughts, and I really want to make a speech about it one day. So that is why I wanted to deliver this speech today. Well, I know that everyone is in Christmas mood, but yeah, let's look back a little bit 11 years ago. Yes, you can do your job now. Please don't do anything wrong. First question, how many aircrafts do you think that, in an incident, September, how many? Two? Three? Any idea? There were actually 4 aircrafts. Two aircraft crashed into the World Trade Center and 1 into the Pentagon. The 4th aircraft were heading into the White House, but eventually it crashed into a rural area of Pennsylvania. There were total 3,000 dead people involved in this incident. So today I want to bring to your attention about this incident and how it created a global impact for not just the US foreign policy, but also for the country around the world. We'll be talking about the impacts of economic costs, the impacts of technology and civil rights, and finally we talk about the human rights. This incident has cost about 40 billion insurance, and this is considered the most insured event in the world. For the US and other countries who participating in which we call the war on terror, for the war in Afghanistan, the US had to pay about 440 billion plus 40 billion for the war in Iraq, whereas the United Kingdom also has to spend about 30 billion for the war in Afghanistan as well. This cost has, people may think, okay, how about using this amount of money for education or other voluntary projects, whether it's worth spending or not. Later, after the incident, the US created a department called the Department of Homeland Security, and this department has cost a loss of another 15 billion due to their failed contracts. And those who involved in this department was reported that their employee morale and satisfaction ranked the last according to a lot of US agencies. How about the United Nations? The United Nations also decided to act on this, and they created a counterterrorism implementation task force. But this required a lot of budgets from the country involved, and because of the UN has a very tight budget, it's caused a further strain on the UN itself. That is how we can realize the economic cost of this. Let's talk about the technology and the civil rights. After the incident, the US decided that they has authority to track individuals, their financial record, emails, any possible communication without prior permission from their citizens. So by following this action, other countries also decided that they can track their citizens without their permission. And then some countries even decided force their internet providers to hold the data of users longer so that they can actually track and ask them to reveal whenever necessary. That is how the impacts of this technology is. And this action has been concerned by the organization like the Reporters Without Borders. They call this the serious violation of freedom of expression for the people around the world. And that leads us to the consideration for human rights. Have anyone heard about Guantanamo Bay detention camp? Can anyone share with us? Maybe, yeah. Can you share with me something that you know about this detention camp?
Yeah, there's some people that are captured there, and they perhaps will have to go through certain supervision or
Yeah, exactly. There's those called alleged terrorists who were detained here for infinite period of time. There's a lot of reports about mistreatments and tortures for the individuals. There's also a lot of reports about self-harm and hanging gestures. Even sometimes we have 10 incidents happen in the same day because people there cannot stand. And those organizations like the human rights groups actually voice out their concern that even non-threatening citizens also were detained here for infinite period of time, even though they didn't do anything wrong. There was also a young boy as young as 13 years old, also detained in the first place. The global responses about it is that there was about 69% of people around the world who were saying there was nothing good about the Guantanamo detention camp because it has caused a lot of mistreatment to individuals. But last year in May 2011, President Barack Obama still signed a bill to proceed further with this detention camp that caused a lot of concerns around the world. So basically, we have gone through the economic cost, the technology and civil rights, as well as we have concern for the human rights for this incident. For the US, it's merely how we think that it's caused a lot of concern for the US itself. But for us, it has a lot to think about. That is the story I want to share with you today. Thank you.
That's nice. Oh, because your speech was so inspirational, so I forgot. Sorry. Thank you, Vivek. Let's know that the September 11 has a profound impact on our lives. And actually, one of the relatives of my other half died during